I recently made a short in which I suggested that maybe making fun of Americans' attitudes to gun control when you have the exact same attitudes to speed limits on the autobahns was not really a very good look. Now, I was intentionally provocative with that one, and by the reaction that I got, it seems that I succeeded. Now, I don't mean to ridicule anyone for the comments that they made. All comments that are not spammy or gratuitously offensive are welcome, and I think that we can all discuss these issues as passionately as we like while remaining respectful of one another. Nevertheless, I was amused to read comments from Americans passionately arguing against gun control, and comments from Germans passionately arguing against speed limits. The problem with these comments is that they tended to reinforce the national stereotypes that I was lampooning, which I'm sure was nobody's intention. In this video, I'd like to address a couple of the issues raised about speed limits. I will not be tackling the gun debate for two reasons. First, I have never lived in the US, and second, this channel is about my perceptions of Germany and German culture. Just to make sure that we're all on the same page, we're talking about the fact that in Germany there is no general speed limit for vehicles under 3.5 tons on autobahns and certain other types of road, although specific speed limits are in force on some sections. Every now and then, some report comes out recommending a general speed limit on autobahns, or a political party makes a proposal in that general direction. And every time that happens, there are loud protests. On my short, one of the commonest objections was that you cannot compare the regulation of guns, which are specifically designed for killing people, and the regulation of cars, which are not. This was often expressed as people do not drive cars into schools in order to kill children. This is true, but not especially relevant. I'm not trying to say that cars are as bad as guns. My short was about holding fast to firm beliefs without being able to articulate any sensible reason for doing so, while also condemning the exact same behavior in others. And this is not something that I am indiscriminately accusing all of you of doing. This isn't personal. This is a generalization based on a national stereotype. Thankfully, to my great relief, most of those who argued against speed limits at least provided some logical arguments to back up their opinions, which is good. One such was the observation that German roads are among the safest in Europe. Not the safest, but comfortably within the top 10 or even the top 5, despite the fact that all other European countries have speed limits on their express highways. And that's true for lots of reasons. The presence or absence of speed limits is not the only factor at play here. There's also things like the design and condition of the roads, the condition of the vehicles themselves, how well maintained they are, how well they are driven, what other traffic regulations are in force, and so on and so forth. That does not mean, though, that we can stop looking for ways to improve road safety. There are some countries with better road safety records than Germany, even if it is only a few, and that implies that there is still more that can be done. I have often complained about the German attitude that anything other than first place is some sort of national disgrace, but I have never once suggested that we shouldn't keep aiming higher. I have always said that the approach I favor is, well done everyone, we're doing great. Let's keep improving. Another argument is that most fatalities from road traffic accidents happen not on autobahns, but on other types of road, particularly on country roads and in urban traffic. And this is true, but possibly misleading. What is indisputable is that non-autobahn roads are inherently more dangerous than autobahns, simply because autobahns are designed specifically for safety at high speeds, which other types of road generally are not. In urban traffic, for example, you have congestion, you have complicated intersections, you have all sorts of other types of road users, and you have all kinds of distractions. However, think about where you do most of your driving. Now, a few of you may well spend most of your time on the autobahn, but I suspect that most of you will be doing most of your driving off the autobahn, whether you're driving to work, to the shops, or just to the next town. So basically what this means is that most accidents happen off the autobahn because most driving happens off the autobahn. Absolute figures may be giving you a distorted impression of reality. They don't tell you how likely you are to have an accident. If you were to look at the figures per billion kilometers traveled on different types of road, you would probably get different results. Now, I have looked for those statistics and I'm sure they must exist somewhere, but I haven't been able to find them. What I did find, however, was that if you take the total number of deaths on the roads per billion kilometers traveled, then Germany is not one of the safest countries in Europe. It's somewhere in the middle. Basically, it's average. Also remember that a lot of people dying in road traffic accidents are simply particularly vulnerable, and that will be people like pedestrians and cyclists, who of course are not going to be on the Autobahn, or at least they shouldn't be. Now, from my perspective, lobby groups who are in favor of speed limits have convincing data and arguments to back up their claims, and those who are against have equally convincing data and arguments to prove their points. So I don't really feel able to judge. However, there is one argument that I cannot get around, and it is this. The faster you are traveling, the more likely it is that you will be involved in a road traffic accident. And if you are involved in an accident, then the higher your speed on impact, the lower your chances of survival. Whether this means that imposing a general speed limit on autobahns will make any statistical difference is open to debate. Thankfully, though, the number of deaths on German roads has been falling almost constantly since the 1970s, so at least we are talking about just making our roads safer than they already are. So yes, well done Germany, you are doing great. Let's keep improving. That they made. Any comments that are not spammy or why can't I say this word? Or oh my god, or gratuitous. That was right.